It's another edition of First and 10 with Rams head football coach Brad Sherrod. I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher. A wild one tonight here at Crowley ISD Multipurpose Stadium in Crowley, Texas. The Rams, for the second time in their history, have won the first 3 games of the season. Not only that, but they scored the most points they've ever scored in their history, running up 80 on North American University with an 80-0 win. Coach, if you've ever been in a game, all the places you've coached and played that have scored 80 points in a game.
Well, I've never scored 80, but I've had scored 80 put on me before.
Wow.
So yeah, I have been on the other end of that. But it was a good night to get a lot of kids in the game and to work on some things and see some things, see how they would do. But I was more happy that we were able to get a lot of kids playing and get them some experience, and that was important to us tonight.
You had the opening win against Lindsey Wilson, Kentucky, the opener of the season here in Crowley about 12 days ago. And you followed that up with a beautiful win, a slugfest, 35-33 against rival Ottawa out in Arizona last week. Is it a surprise to you, Coach, that you guys are 3-0 to start the season? Were you expecting that, or how much of a surprise is that you are 3-0?
Well, the way we work in practice, I'm not so much surprised. I know we were prepared, and I knew our kids were ready to play. So I'm excited about at this point where we are. Like I said last week, we just need to stay humble and continue to keep working and getting to where we want to be. But I'm just proud of the way the kids approach practice every day, and that's, to me, is the key to how we do things. So we're happy to be 3-0. Last week was a slugfest. We had to hold on to the end to win that game, and sometimes you need to do those things to win the game at the end. But tonight was a good night for our guys to get a lot of guys in, to see our offense click. You know, Ernie had a good night. You know, we had a field goal return for a touchdown. So we had some good things go on and had some kids participate and do some good things for us tonight.
And speaking of Ernie Caesar, we call him Flash. He came in with 6 touchdowns to, I think, lead the NAIA, at least be in the top 3 for touchdowns scored for a team. And they're all by Ernie Flash Caesar. He's wearing a new number this year, down from number 21. He's number 3. He scored the first touchdown of the game as an 8-yard run. Clock had stopped at 12:14 in the first period. Then the next play caught Jared Moose Jones and myself speechless. We'd never seen a play like this before. Carson Rogers got picked. I think it was Haim Evans for NAU who made the interception. Then there was a fumble, and it ended up being returned by Caesar for 58 yards. So essentially, it was a score by Caesar to start the game with 12:14 left, and then that play occurred. The clock really hadn't moved, so it was 12:14 when that play occurred. So 2 plays at 12:14. Have you ever seen a play that wild and that weird?
Well, yeah, you know, you've seen things where guys intercept the ball and end up giving it back to the offense, and that's kind of what happened. It'd be interesting to see who caused that fumble. But, you know, in our practices, we work on what we call ball disruption. So our offense, everyone learns how to recover a fumble. Everyone learns how to hold the ball, learn how to punch at the ball. So for Ernie to take to the field, to the game, and what we practice on the practice field was really good to see. And that's a good heads-up play by him, just scooping that ball up and going to score. So I just like to see those things that we work on in practice show up in the game. So I was real proud of them.
Yeah, I heard somebody was telling me in the booth that there was a interference by one of the coaches for the Stallions on that sideline, but you guys declined. Was that true? Was there an interference?
I don't recall that play. I don't recall if there was a penalty on that play.
Yeah, that was wacko, but
yeah,
it got off to a good start.
Yeah,
so.
We'll
and then on the way to 80 points. So,
yeah.
And then speaking of running back, Caesar had 59 yards. I'll take that back. He had 83, so 8.3 on 10 carries. But that running back room is just with Ashton Mitchell-Johnson, Vernon Harrison got some work tonight. Of course, Nick David West. But what about Zach Keelan Hadnot? He's like a little jitterbug out there. So was this his first action this year?
No, I think he played out in Ottawa a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. They call him Ziggy. So he, you know, I think our running back room is really talented, and I'm excited about, you know, when we see those guys in there. So there's really, Ernie is special. There's no doubt he's special. He's got something about himself. He has a little pick up and go, and he can stop and start. But those other guys run the ball hard, and they have some speed as well. And I think we saw that with Ziggy tonight on one of his touchdowns. It was good to see Vernon get in there and do some good things as well, be coming off that knee injury. So we were trying to work him back in, so it's a great opportunity to work him back into the rotation tonight. So I'm really happy to see those guys flourish, and we were able to create some depth in that room.
And how happy are you with on that side of the ball, the offensive line, which is basically revamped this year, but how good of a job have they been doing?
They, like I said, they're going to get better as the year goes on because they're basically a bunch of freshmen out there
right.
that haven't played. So they're going to gel, come together, learn how to communicate better and do things. As the year goes on, they'll start to come together as a group. And I thought tonight was just another step forward for those guys. And we'll just continue to keep grinding at it and working at it, and those guys will get better as the season goes on. I really believe that we have a lot more to get better at that position.
And the Rams have one of the top offenses in the country, and they sure in the heck proved that tonight in that 80-0 win over North American University. But again, staying on that side of the ball, Michael Banks was our player of the game. He had a whale of a game last week against Ottawa in the 35-33 win. But you got A.J. Bobb, you got Ronnie Schneider, you got, who am I leading now? T.J. Curtis, who started coming around last year. I remember this particular game last year where T.J. had a turnaround game for him. But how is it having that much wealth, that many riches in the running back room and the wide receiver room as well, and backup quarterback too, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But how cool is that?
It's really good. It's a good problem to have. I'm glad we're starting to get a good rotation in that room and have that talent and that depth there.
Right.
One thing I'm always about is creating depth. And we've done it in the running back room. We're doing it in the receivers room. I'm happy with our backup quarterback and go in and operate and keep us on track and keep us on schedule to do the things that we're doing. So I think the offense has done a great job of developing depth, which we're going to need as the year goes on. And even talk about our offensive line, and we're moving some guys around some different spots to give us those opportunities in case someone goes down, they can play different positions. So I'm really proud of the way we're developing that position. So we scrimmage all our young kids that didn't play. Like, they won't scrimmage tomorrow, but when they don't play a lot in the game, we'll scrimmage them on Sunday and on Tuesday, just to kind of get them a feel for what it is to play and the communication piece of it. So that's part of the development process, and we want to continue to keep doing that stuff.
And speaking about the quarterbacks too, and the riches on offense and running back room and the wide receiver room, but Cole Francis came on tonight, and he played for a lot of the second half. But before we get to Cole, I mean, Carson Rogers was 11 out of 17, 199 yards, 3 touchdowns, the one pick which turned into a touchdown. But don't let me explain it again, because we were baffled for that first big play there that Caesar took the fumble recovery after an interception in for a touchdown. But what do you see from Cole? I mean, he has a rocket too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's special. I'm happy that he's coming along and learning from Carson. And he's taking those backup reps and really making them count. I mean, when he gets in practice, all those we talk about game reps in practice, and that's what he does. When he's in there, it's all about a game rep for him, taking command of the offense, taking command of the huddle, taking command of the receivers, getting them lined up. So I was real pleased with him tonight, coming in there and doing some good things, and that's just going to help us down the road. Make sure that we always have that guy there in case something happened to Carson, so there's no drop off. And I want to make sure that he continues to keep growing as a quarterback friend. And Coach Glover's doing a great job of just getting, just bringing him along and making sure that he continues to grow as a quarterback.
I remember in the pregame show with Sherrod Jones tonight that you did, I think it was today or yesterday, but you were talking about the defense, and you said the defense, is one thing you needed to work on. Were you happy with the defensive work tonight, throwing the shutout?
I am. I'm glad we had the shutout. There's still some. I think we're doing a better job of communicating with each other. To me, that's the most important piece. When we don't communicate, that's how guys are cut loose. That's how big plays happen. That's how touchdowns happen. So we've done a better job in the last 2 weeks of communicating across the board, so that everyone has the same call, that we're all on the same page. Regardless if we're right or wrong, as long as we're all doing the same thing, we're going to be okay. So I'm really happy with the way the guys are communicating more. And we did a better job of stopping the run tonight. Did a great job in the passing game. So we just need to continue to keep growing because the schedule will get tougher as we go on and continue to face teams that's going to be able to run the ball. And the first 2 weeks were physical ball clubs. And I think that's just going to help us because we have to match that physicality. And the kids did. And I thought it showed up tonight in the game.
Ram, speaking of the defense, 50 yards on the ground for the Stallions, 151 total. Our player of the game was Sir Hill. And speaking of Sir Hill, boy, how nice is it to have an experienced guy like that, big hitter, a leader, and he's one of the pieces there like Arian Bott and Dalen Rogers that you really have to be excited about and happy that they're on your side.
I am. They've been great leaders, doing the things that we need them to do on and off the field, and that's what's important. You know, Sir Hill was more of a defensive end last year.
That's right.
So we moved him back to play linebacker, and he's really picked it up and learning more and more each week, and I think he will continue to keep improving. But having Dalen in the back end is a big help. No, there's no doubt. Even having Jamarian Reed back there is a big help for us because they're doing such a great job of communicating and getting everyone else lined up, which is great on the back end. And then Arian's doing a great job. He and Daniel Bogan are doing a great job up front for us as well. So I'm happy with those guys. I'm happy that we were able to get them out in that second half and because they took a lot of snaps in the last 2 weeks. And tonight we were able to play them in that half and give them a break because it's a long season.
Right.
And it gave us a chance to get some younger kids in there that haven't played a whole lot, to get them some experience. And there's some things we can work on to get better so they can see that. And that's just going to help us as we go on.
And Coach Sherrod and the Rams have two really good kickers. And I say that because Garrett Blodgett was really spectacular last year for the Rams. He obviously isn't there this year. But Max Luna, who kicks off, and then Diego Chavarria, who kicks the field goals. And he had a white thing hanging down behind him. It looked almost like a hood, but it wasn't big enough for the hood. What was that? It's just.
I didn't notice it. I really didn't.
I don't know if it's kind of blocking it.
I don't know if it's a part of his undershirt that he had on and it came out.
Right.
I really wasn't sure. I didn't see it.
Sure the heck didn't hurt his leg, though, if it affected his leg. And he's got a big booming leg. So that's two good pieces, though, that you really have to be proud of, too, are Luna and Chavarria.
They are. You know, when we are in field goal range, it's always good to know that you can get some points out of it, and we did that tonight earlier. And I thought Matt, he had a slow start in that first game, but he's really come on here in the last 2 weeks. And it just takes a while it took a while for him to get comfortable being out there and doing those things. And he just kept grinding and working at it. And tonight was good piece of it. So he's got a lot of work tonight with 11 kicks and kickoffs. And he's doing a great job of placing that ball where we need to be placed. And that's what I'm more proud of than anything, that he's not kicking it down the middle and we want it in the corner. So he's doing such a better job at that. And he's really worked at it and gotten better.
You don't see your punter that much. I think he had one punt tonight.
Well, that's a good thing tonight. Yeah. I'll say that to him in the locker room. So he only got like one punt, maybe. I don't even know if he got that one, but he did such a great job those first 2 weeks of flipping the field for us.
That's right.
And that stuff is so important. Like we put in rugby a little bit, and he did a great job of getting that ball down there. We pinned him inside the 5 last week, so it was good. He didn't get a lot of work tonight because we scored a lot of points, but he'll come on. We'll need him as the season goes on for sure to help us continue to flip the field.
Rams go on the road. The next game up is up to Oklahoma for Oklahoma Panhandle State University. What can you tell us about Corey Miller's club?
Well, they are a talented football team. They are. They're going to give us some issues with gap scheme stuff that they're going to run the football. But, like I said, I think those first 2 weeks helped us because we saw a lot of that. So I'm hoping we can continue to keep growing. We will continue to keep growing in that phase and stopping the run. So that's going to be a challenge for us because that quarterback can not only throw the ball, he can run. So he's a dual threat, and we're facing that again. That's what we face against Ottawa. So we need to make sure we do a better job of containing him, keeping him in the pocket, and we need to size the run that we have someone there to contain him and make the tackle. So that's going to be a big challenge for us.
And that quarterback is Brandon Stevenson. I believe he was with them for last year, so we probably have film on him from last year, and then one game that they played this year, and you'll have more film now after this weekend's game. But you seen any difference in him from last year's film to the game you saw this year?
He's probably taking a little bit more better command of the offense from what I've seen, but he's making a little bit better decisions, not trying to force the ball, and now he's just taking off when he has an opportunity if he doesn't have what he's looking for. So like I said, that to me is the biggest piece. We got to make sure that we do a great job of getting in those passing lanes, so when he wants to take off, we're there. And I thought we did a better job of that in the second half. We gave up some big runs early with the quarterback stepping up. We made adjustment at halftime. The kids did a better job of at least containing that and keeping them in front. So when he decided he wanted to take off, somebody was there to get him a stutter and gave another guy a chance to go in there and make a play.
What do they have on defense?
They're going to be talented on defense as well. They're going to have good size on them and good speed at the corners position. But, I'm real happy with our receivers. I think it's going to be a good matchup back there and see what we can do. But, we're always going to try to establish the run. And I think that opens up the passing game for us. So, but they're a little bit more experienced up front than what we saw tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how we do, and our guys will take command of their job.
Speaking of big leg kickers, they have one in Carlos Vasquez. I remember him from last year and maybe the year before that, but he's pretty darn good. So what kind of weapon is that to have a kicker that's that good and that powerful and can kick from that range?
Well, like I said, when you always have a kicker that can get you some points, that's a pretty good thing to have. You're always going to get something out of a drive once you get across the 50 and get into that kicking range. So to me, we need to kind of develop that. I think Diego's done a great job, but we need to kind of make sure he can increase that distance a little bit more. So when we get on the 40, we can get some points. And like I said, that's an important weapon. We had that weapon wherever else I've been. And you just knew, made you feel good that you will get some points out of that drive. And that's just keep building those points. And that's what that's a powerful thing to have.
Of course, you, as we said, rolled out the most points for a Rams team in history, getting 80 tonight against North American University. That exceeded the 72 against Texas College from last season. Now, when you score 80 like that, I don't know how to word this, but and you're facing a team like Oklahoma Panhandle State, but is there a point where they might get too cocky and they say, wow, we just rolled up 80, we can score 40 on the next team, or we can score 50 or whatever. But is there a point where you just have to say, forget about that, that was against a completely different opponent, let's just concentrate on the next team? Well,
that statement will be made, but I think our guys are smart enough and experienced enough to realize that. They know this is going to be a totally different opponent that we play in Oklahoma Panhandle. They're a good ball club, and they can score on us as much as we can score on them. So we better be locked in for that game. I'll make sure that we're ready to play. And but players play, and they're the ones that have to go out there and make those plays. I've been proud of the way we have approached the game, and I think Carson has done a great job of helping the team stay focused and approach this game coming out the locker room. But I don't know about if this will make us cocky or not. We'll stay humble. I'm gonna make sure that we're not going to eat the cheese, as they say,
right,
and fall for that trap. But what we're going to do is just continue to keep doing what we do best. Let's get the ball to our playmakers. Let's get it to Bob. Let's get it to TJ. Let's get it to the guys that can make some things happen. Let's get the ball in Ernie's hands. Let's get the ball in all our running back hands because they're pretty special. And then let the defense do what we're supposed to do. Stop the run. Force them to throw the ball. Now we can play coverage and get some turnovers. And we're going to work on that. So we just need to focus on what we do and not lose focus of that.
Right.
And I think our guys are smart enough to understand this league and who we're facing.
Coach, celebrate them like you heard the Trains have been celebrating before there a couple of minutes ago. They're celebrating the Rams' big 80-0 victory tonight. Next week it'll be Oklahoma Panhandle State up there. It's a road game. So you won't hear that on the Atlas Sports Network. Be in catch and follow along on ramsports.net. So for Coach Brad Sherrod and his staff, Keith Houston, the new defensive coordinator, threw a shutout tonight. Congratulate Keith for us.
Awesome.
So go celebrate this one, Coach. Get him coached up. And for Kenneth Flowers, our crack producer, filmer, for Ricky Dotson, the athletic director, James McBride and Shalon Anderson, the SID department, for Antler Sports Network, the great Jared Moose Jones. I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher for Coach Sherrod, saying so long. Go get them, Rams. Set that record. Get that fourth straight win to start the season against OPSU next week. Adios, everybody. See you next time on First and 10.